Welcome to the Recreational Homestead. I'm Chase. This is my boss, Lydia. I call her Lydia.
Why are you so cheesy?
It's not cheesy. We wanted to come on here and talk about some of our future plans for this year and some of the other stuff that we have going on. I've been really bad about making videos lately, and that always happens this time of year. It's just cold, muddy, nasty, and I just don't have the drive to, so I apologize for that.
I've really just taken a sabbatical since September. I really taken a yeah.
You'll find her on Instagram. Go to the Recreational Homestead on Instagram, and you get to see more of this beautiful face. And more of our day-to-day, more of the kids.
We're actually pretty funny on there.
Yeah, I would say so. We get a lot of laughs on the Instagram. So last year, DaddyKirbs reached out to us. If you've never watched his channel, you should go check that out. He was interested in the American Bresse and wanted to work something out with us, collaboration with us. He did a lot for us on the back end. He actually had a lot of contacts and got us in contact with a lot of people. A great
friend and mentor.
Yeah, I mean, he randomly texted me like, hey, you know, don't give up, keep going, you know, I know it's rough, but you're doing a great job. So he's been a great guy and a great person to work with. So we were very fortunate with that. And then we were sold out of chicks and really couldn't work with anybody else. But then we ended up sending the Walker farm family some chicks last fall, and they did a great video on that. And that was kind of cool because we did a video of us sending the chicks out, and they did a video of them getting the chicks, and the kids love to see that. They love to see like where those chicks are actually going and the people actually getting them. So then this spring, Papaw's place, Eddie, he messaged me and wanted to do something. He already had American Bresse chicks, but he was looking for something more. So he messaged me, wanted to get some chicks. So we sent him some chicks. He did some great videos on that. And he's actually been weighing his chicks right along to see their rate of gain and everything. And that actually got the attention of Madeline Royal from Arcadian Orchard. Another great YouTube channel. Again, if you haven't checked out Papaw's place, go check that out. Ace's favorite channel now.
Thank goodness. He was really into Pete.
He still likes Pete.
He still loves Pete.
I love the fact that Asa will sit in that chair with me and watch Pete restore a tractor. I mean, Pete's talking about, I mean, he's tearing apart the engine, like, Asa has no idea what he's doing, but Asa loves it. Like, he could sit there and watch that all day long. He just loves it. So I think that's cool, but he loves Papaw's place now, so that's his new favorite. But
he reads stories and makes up, if it's a farm book, he always is like, welcome to A Few Acres Farm, and there's Pete, whatever. And I'm really hoping that he starts to make up stories about
welcome back to Papaw's place.
Well,
whatever. Eddie's not holding anything against me. As long as he doesn't repeat that joke about the school bus, but, you know, good enough. It was a good joke, by the way. I appreciate it.
It was a good joke, but it's not for my 3-year-old to repeat.
He didn't repeat it, so it was good enough. Check out Papaw's place.
Papaw's place.
Check out Papaw's place, whatever. And then go check out Arcadian Orchard. She is doing a feed trial with 25 of her chicks, and we're going to send her 25 chicks, and she's going to record the feed consumption and the rate of gain on all those chicks up until the point of lay. So we're excited about that. You'll have to go see her videos and check out what feed company she's working with. They've made a feed specifically for the American Bresse, so that'll be interesting. It'll be cool to see I mean, she's been breeding American Bresse for a long time and has some really good stock, so definitely be interesting to see ours side by side. We're excited about that. And then, so that we're shipping those out next week. And then the week after that, we're shipping chicks to a big YouTube channel. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, just for the suspense of it. And because I still don't believe that it's actually going to happen, even though we have a date set and all that. But yeah, I'm still in denial, I guess you'd say. When Living Traditions got their American Bresse chicks, it definitely blew things up for everybody, got a lot of more people interested in it. I mean, for us even, and we were a really small channel at that time, we got a ton of orders.
That weekend, I think we got, just that weekend, a dozen orders, and we were like, something
right,
happened.
I didn't even
like, we didn't even know what had happened at the time. And then they continued to roll in all week, and I think it was, at the end of the week, we figured out
right.
what had happened.
And by then we were sold out.
And by then we were sold out.
I guess my point is, I don't know what's going to happen. So for you guys who are already following us and stuff, if you're looking at ordering chicks, do it now before this happens, because I don't want this to happen and then us be sold out and you not be able to get some. With that being said, right now we're only offering 50 chicks a week, which is a really low number, because we don't want to end up like we did last year. So we'll be adding some throughout the summer too. So keep checking back in if you don't get some right away.
That was hard for us because we didn't do pre-sale this year. I wouldn't say it went horrible last year. Yeah, it did.
It did. It was absolutely horrible.
And I hated having to let people down. And so
it was a struggle. I mean, it was
growing pains. It was lessons learned. I know a lot of
we would be at each other's throats over it. It's true. It's like, because somebody's got to be the bad guy, you know, and neither one of us wanted to let each other down, and it was really my mistake or my bad judgment as far as how the spring was going to go. You know, so I took on a lot of that responsibility, but she was the one answering a lot of the emails and getting yelled at, so, which most people weren't that bad.
We're actually super nice. I'm just really sensitive.
There was only a few.
And I'm a people pleaser.
There was only a few of you that were nasty, which you're probably not watching anymore anyway, so.
Last year didn't go great, and so we didn't do the pre-sale this year.
Well, I mean, we're still kind of doing a pre-sale. Like, the French gardener, he asked for a date. I don't remember when it is, to be honest with you. May or something like that. So we put the dates out there. Small number, 50 chicks. I mean, there's no way that we're not going to be able to supply 50 chicks a week. So I put those out there for those of you who wanted it, and I think that's fair enough, you know. Last year we were trying to run it like the big hatcheries do and pre-sell our orders all the way through the summer, because that's what most people want. They want to know they can get the chicks. With us raising them outside, it's just too hard to know what we're gonna have.
We just learned that we can't do it like the big hatcheries, and that's okay because we don't want to be.
Yeah, we don't want to be a
like
hatchery.
Those.
We're not trying. Yeah. We're not trying to be a hatchery. We're just breeding the American Bresse. We're not breeding anything else. We don't really have any intentions on breeding anything else. We don't really want to grow this thing that big. Last year we had 200 hens. This year, I don't know if I'll make it to 400 hens or not. I've been going through them, going through all the new pullets a lot, and you know, pretty picky on what I keep. So probably more at the 300 hen spot, and I think that's a pretty good spot. We're trying to have enough to supply the restaurant. That's our biggest thing. Is grow big enough to. They want 15 chickens a week, and we've been supplying them with chickens, but it's very difficult, especially this time of year. So we got to figure that out and grow to a size that makes sense for that.
We get quite a few emails, questions, and things like that. And one of the questions that somebody emailed us and asked was about the price difference. They looked at a couple other hatcheries that carry American Bresse, and they wanted to know, you know, why do you have such a price difference? And I actually
they said 3 times as much, which is true. You can find American Bresse chicks for 1/3 of the cost.
You always interpret the emails like people are being mean, and I always interpret it as like.
That is true. I hate to admit that, but it is true. Most of the time, I'm like, what? Like,
I don't always
screw off then.
I don't always assume.
This
is my thing. I don't have time. I don't have time to fluff things. So I'm just gonna send out an email, and it might sound direct, but I don't mean it in like a.
You fluff everything. Whatever. I think it's from working in tool and die. Everybody's nasty.
But anyways, it was a fair question. They wanted to know, and so I was talking on Instagram about, you know, answering the question. I had to answer the email, but how I answered it. And when we started out, we were calling ourselves like a small scale hatchery. But I think we've kind of shifted our mindset to it's more of a breeder because, like you said, we're only breeding and raising the American Bresse here, but we don't have giant barns full of chicks. We don't have, or chickens. We don't have these, I mean, we have one big incubator. I wouldn't say it's not like we have like rooms of them or anything like that. And we focus heavily on what am I trying to say? Well,
meat quality. So, I mean, most of your hatcheries are looking on the outside of the bird. They're trying to get you something that meets the breed standard, which is just the appearance.
Well, what I was saying is like our cost, because we're a breeder, our cost is for multiple reasons. One of those is being the work that we put into them. You've been breeding for what, 15, 16 years? And you have this ridiculous talent and eye for it, which like we've done this for years, where you can look at something and like when you're breeding pigs and you're like, oh, it's running uphill, or like what are some of the terms that you used to like say?
I don't remember, but
and
I remember Miggy would always get mad. The crazy old neighbor guy, he used to help me out with the pigs a lot, and he'd be talking to me and I'd just be staring at the pen of pigs, and he'd be like, all right, I'll come back later, he'd say. But because he knew that I wasn't actually listening, I was watching the pigs.
You can look at these small details. You have the ability to look at these small details and notice things. Like to me, it's a chicken, but you notice like small differences in coloring and in tone, and I don't even know, but like,
right, structure, how they walk.
How they walk is
act.
one thing. It's like they walk like a chicken, but like you can notice.
Right.
A lot of different things.
Those are all very important things.
And I don't have the eye for that. And so you put a lot of work into how you breed them as far as the breed standard for outward appearance, but you also put a lot into how you breed them for the meat quality. And
right, structure and meat's number one. So,
and we're not, the thing with the meat quality is that we're not just consuming them for our family, but we're providing them to a restaurant and they're giving us feedback. I mean, we can obviously see the product that we're giving them and how much meat is on there and, you know, how much fat is on there, but we actually get feedback from them on like the quality of the meat. And so that helps to make sure that you're going in the right direction with breeding as far as that. So
right, because it's not just the chef and their team working on the bird. They're serving these to people, and these people are paying a good amount of money for this chicken dish. So if they're not happy with it, they're going to let them know. I mean, because that's ultimately your main purpose, right? We can argue back and forth with a lot of different things with the breed standard, but your main purpose of these birds are to be able to breed them yourself for meat and eggs, and that's your main focus. I'd love for them all to have white earlobes, but the earlobes do not taste that great. So
the other piece would be the service that we provide. So when you hatch these out and we ship them to you guys, we don't just throw any chick in the box. He looks them over to make sure that there's no black spots, there's no
crooked toes,
there's no feathers on the legs or feet, there's no
looking at their navel to make sure that's healed up properly, which that's just normal chick stuff. But that's stuff that a hatchery doesn't take that much pride in, right? They're doing more numbers, and it's interesting because we get a lot of messages now, people trying to do what we're doing, which is great, you know, go for it. People think that we're gonna get mad about it, and there's nothing wrong with a little competition. I'm good with that. Like we don't want to get that big, so there needs to be other good, responsible breeders out there too. But one of the questions I get, and they're always surprised by this, but they're like, well, how many eggs you set, how many chicks do you sell from that? And my number is usually 50%. And they're like, well, that's really low. Do you have a fertility issue? And it's like, no. And I don't know what the percentage is, but probably 95% fertility, which that goes up and down. Depending on the year, it gets hot, your fertility rate goes down. But it goes back to, I'm not just going to throw just anything in the box. You know, if they didn't hatch quite right and they're not fluffed out like they're supposed to, we're not going to put them in the box. I
ship it out late hatches.
Right. I set them on Sunday night. We ship them out on a Monday morning, like early in the morning. There's chicks that hatch after that, but I'm not going to send those to anybody. Like, to me, that's not what I would want to build my flock on, so that's not what I'm going to send you.
Another thing to build on that, of not wanting to build your flock on that, you don't baby the eggs. So we don't put anything in the hatcher. We don't spray the eggs with any sort of chemicals to try to get all of them or as many of the eggs to hatch. We want you to get a bird that's really hardy and strong in survival of the fittest.
Lynn at Indiv, she's mad at me about that. That's where I get the Sure Hatch incubators from, and she gets people all the time asking about a hatch rate and whatever, and I don't really play that game. I don't even know what the hatch rate is, to be honest with you. To me, it's pointless. I don't want an egg to hatch if God doesn't want it to hatch. So I'm not going to do all that stuff to try to make it hatch. Just like, I mean, everything goes into this. Like with our chickens themselves, we don't give any medications, no medicated feed, no nothing. And to a lot of people that seems odd or cruel or whatever, but if that hen is getting sick all the time, I don't want to collect eggs out of that and hatch it, because guess what? Her daughters are going to get sick all the time. Just like if you're picking up your eggs off the floor, cleaning them so they can hatch, well, guess what? Most likely the chicks that hatch out of that, they're going to lay their eggs on the floor too. They're not going to find a nest box either. So those are all just things that you're going to sit there and baby, and it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. So by us not babying the eggs, there's no instant gratification in that at all, because we could sell more chicks if we soaked them all in chemicals and everything else to get them to hatch. But 5 years down the road, I firmly believe that we will have an even better hatch rate when we're not doing anything different. You know what I mean? Like,
man, that was tempting last year though.
It was tempting.
We were like, oh, when we were behind, we were like, oh, do we do it? But no. It's just not something that we...
It's not worth it.
No.
You know? I mean, that's not what I want to supply people with.
One thing that we're really big on is shipping out day-old poultry. Like, that's what's supposed to ship out. That's what we ship out. I mean, God did this really cool thing that if the chicks absorb the yolk before they hatch, they can sustain life for at least 3 days. And so we don't give them any food and water because it's kind of like jump-starting your metabolism in the morning. If you eat breakfast, you tend to be hungry earlier on in the morning. If you were to feed those chicks, they're going to rely on that food. And so we don't do that. We ship them out right away.
Which this is nothing special. This is what has been happening for over 100 years. You're not supposed to feed the chicks. They're supposed to be day old. You're not supposed to put any food in the box. But somehow in the past 10 years, 5 years, whatever, people have thought that they need to get smarter and figure it out better. I don't know.
What was it? They put in like that Grow Gel or Go Gel.
Yeah, which does absolutely nothing.
And there's been some hatcheries that put food and water in them. And I'm like, if that spills, your chicks are going to
ship out a week later.
Or they ship out a week later.
Because they couldn't go out that week because of a storm, so they ship week-old chicks out a week later.
Well, that's a huge... I don't like to talk bad about other breeders or other hatcheries to try to get our business. But these are just things that... I mean, this is information that they're posting on their own social media channel.
And if you watch some of these videos, they're taking them out of an incubator, putting them in a brooder with food and water, and saying, hey, we're about to box these up tomorrow. And it's like... What are you doing? You're not supposed to do that at all. Why? I mean, ours comes straight out of the incubator into a shipping box, and that's what it's supposed to be.
Another part of the service we provide is custom shipping. So those chicks come right out of the incubator and go right into the box. But I look up the weather of where they're getting shipped to.
Thanks, Gwen.
Anyways, custom shipping. So we put them right from the incubator into the box. But I look up where they're being shipped to. And if you've gotten our chicks and you looked on the inside of the lid, you'll see numbers on there. And I always write the lowest temperature here for the week and the lowest temperature there for the week. So that way...
Well, in the summer it's more like the highest temperature.
The highest in the summertime. Right now it's the lowest. That's why it came to mind. And so whoever, me or Chase, boxes them up, we can look at that temperature and know how we need to box them up. Do we need to do a bigger nesting pad? Do we need to put the heat pads in? How many holes do we need to punch? That kind of thing. And so it's really, I mean, we don't have a huge...
we don't lose money.
We don't lose money.
So for those of you watching this, like, well, I got some from them and we lost 6 of them or whatever. Well, that's very few times. It does happen.
It does happen.
And most of the time it's because the post office lost them or whatever. But, you know, we're not perfect and we can't account for anything. But overall, we don't lose hardly any.
Unfortunately, once we put them in the mail, I mean, it's out of our hands. But we do, like I was saying on Instagram when I was talking about this, I have an app on my phone and you track them also. We get updates as to where they are. And I was saying, like, it's a lot of times it's our dinner conversation that we can't believe they got there so fast, or this is where it says they are and I really hope that that's wrong. Or
most of the time it is wrong. That's the sad truth,
yes, most
too.
of the time it is wrong. The kids will even ask. Everyone even asks at this point, did the chicks get there yet? And if I see that they're there 80% of the time, I will follow up and say, hey, saw that they got there. How are they doing? How do they look? Because that's another thing that we do. We have a well and alive policy. So if they arrive to you alive and well, and they should be alive and well for the first 24 hours that they're in your care. And if they're not, we will talk to you about replacement or refunding depending on the situation.
Right, and we've had it. The UP's the worst, but
which is really funny to me.
We've sent a couple up to the UP, and it's like they got them, and they just looked. Yeah, they were alive, but they looked horrible, you know. And it's like day 1 he lost 2, day 3 he lost another 4. You know what I mean? And it up to a week before he stopped losing them, and we went ahead and replaced all those for him anyway. You know, he kept in contact with us, told us what was going on, you know, and that's fine. We want to work with people. It's not I mean, that 24 hours is our official thing, you know, to cover our butts, but that's not we want to treat people how we would want to be treated, you know. So we have no problem working with people and making it right. We take pride in that, and we want to keep it that way. Part of the reason why we don't want to get huge.
Quality over quantity, really. And we want to keep an open line of communication with our customers.
Yeah, I do the best. I mean, once you buy chicks from me, you obviously have some form of contact with us, and I do my best at answering the questions, whether it's breeding questions, hatching questions, hey, how can I sell more chicks than you question, you know, like I do my best. Like it's not quick, I'll be honest.
I'll say that.
I'm not that quick at it because we get a lot of messages and emails and stuff, but I definitely try to make it. And if I don't be afraid to send it again.
That's what I said. I'm not always the most timely or prompt.
Sometimes they get lost, you know.
Right. Email me again. Message me on Instagram or Facebook. To me, that's the fun part of this is that, I mean, you like the chickens and whatever, but I'm more of a people person. I like to talk to people.
Yeah, I don't really like talking to people.
You do too. But we've made a lot of friends, and it's really cool. That's my favorite part. We get updates and pictures and stuff like that. I'm not a crazy chicken lady.
She could give. Yeah, don't send her pictures of your chickens.
No, I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna remember like little Henrietta or anything, like, you know, like anything like that. But like, it's just fun to see what people are doing with it, you know. But
oh yeah,
I mean, like, we get people that are like, hey, we harvested our birds and they were great, you know, like that. I like to hear that, how it went and stuff like that. So
right, or I got my first egg. That's always exciting
that's always
for people.
Fun. Yeah.
And but so on the shipping box thing, so a lot of, because over a year ago, we designed our own shipping box along with Erin. We worked together with her and designed our own shipping box, which is funny because she did all our branding, and we were buying just generic shipping boxes from wherever we could buy them from. You couldn't hardly find them. They were expensive. They didn't show up on time. They were never the same product. And so we were telling her, like, you know, we wanted our branding on it somehow. And she's like, well, yeah, you just print it right on the box. I'm like, well, I can't get the boxes. And she's like, we'll make our own boxes. Like, it'll all be done at once. And I'm like, that's brilliant. I can't believe I didn't think of that. But so she's definitely the mastermind behind that. But anyways, so I
would say that the Recreational Homestead is Chase, Lydia, and Erin. Like, if somebody asked me, like, she's not on the payroll, but she should be. But
we do pay her, by the way. She's just
not pro bono or anything like that.
But so we made those shipping boxes a year ago. We've been using them for a year, and they've been great for us. And a lot of you guys have been asking about getting them for yourself. You're starting out your own little hatchery. You're just doing it on the side, or you're a serious small breeder or hatchery that's sending chicks out, and you want a good box. So we struggled with that because we don't want to sell the box with our branding on it. So we've taken the same exact box.
Now the qualities that we put a lot of thought, details and qualities we put a lot of thought into. I mean, you can customize it as far as, you know, your temperature that you're shipping your chicks out in. It's lighter weight, so your shipping costs are down.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So like on a box of 25 chicks, so we've been doing this for a while. On a box of 25 chicks, if you can get that under 3 pounds, you will save over $5 depending on where you're shipping them to. So that's a huge thing. And so this box doesn't weigh, I mean, it's not like it's half the weight of another box you would get, but it weighs just enough less that we're able to get under that 3 pound mark, unless it's like the middle of winter and we're putting heat pads in it. But that's a huge savings for us. $5 a box, I mean, we just paid for our box. So that right there is huge.
Yeah.
But also we put folding lines in it. So the folding lines are perforated. So our 6-year-old can put the boxes together. I mean, you can put them together blindfolded because they automatically fold where you need them to fold, you know. The holes are plugged and the box is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I've been told it is beautiful. The new design that Erin's working on right now might be even more beautiful. No, you don't agree? She still likes our original one, which
I love our original one, and I really do like this one, and I love that it has a lot of versatility to it, depending on what you're shipping out. So
yeah, because these aren't just for chicks. These are for turkeys, ducks, geese, whatever you're shipping out. That's what these are for. Day olds. So we're excited to launch this. She should be done with the design next weekend or somewhere around in there. We're not pressuring her. And then we'll start getting some of these made. So we're looking for people, if you want to do a bulk order of these, or if you just want a few of them, get in contact with us, the Recreational Homestead at gmail.com, and we'll work it out with you. But as far as bulk orders, we're doing 400 boxes for $2,000, and that is the best price we can get you. We're going to sell them in smaller quantities, like bundles of 10 or whatever, on our website eventually. But if you were looking to get a bulk order to get ready for the spring hatching season, get a hold of us and we'll get that worked out. But and again, we'll have a full video on just the boxes here once we get that final design. But it's just as beautiful as the box we already have. It's just going to be its own thing, because we didn't want to have people shipping out chicks in our box and people thinking that whatever chicks they got came from us, if that makes sense. Whether good or bad, we didn't want to take credit for somebody else's work. So
right.
But we're kind of moving more towards, not moving, it's just something that we're adding on, because we get so many questions about, hey, we want to start selling chicks, we want to start hatching chicks out and selling them, whether it's to the farm store down the street or shipping them across the U.S. And people want to know how to do that, what supplies to use. So this summer we're going to work more on some e-courses and putting together those supplies for you guys and helping you guys be successful in that. You know, a lot of the stuff that we had to figure out the hard way.
Yeah.
And bringing it to you guys and helping you guys out. So, but the boxes is definitely a huge thing. You don't want to wait until spring to get your boxes. That's another thing that I'm very proud of, is that these boxes are made right here in Holland, Michigan, the great US of A. And you're going to say, well, Chase, you're buying incubators from South Africa. And yes, I am, because South Africa makes the best incubators of that size. So I'm not against world trade, but if you can support the USA, support the USA, and that's what we're doing. So I'm definitely proud of that part. I mean, they're made 20 minutes from our house, so
yeah, that's really cool.
By a great family-owned business. I mean, it's not a huge business. No. It's a smaller business, so I'm definitely excited about that. Great people. I really like the owners.
Yeah.
So somebody that Erin hooked us up with. Sick all weekend. Cops came to the door.
You can't tell people that, because
I'm telling people that. Cops came to the door. Probably going to jail. And it was by somebody, you know. It's always weird when the cop is somebody that you know. That does make it weird, isn't it?
Never had that, because I've never really had a run-in with the police before.
I like to live on the side of
all I know is that I was in our bedroom and you came in your skivvies and you said, why is there a sheriff here? And I said, I don't know, put some pants on. So then you went out there, me and the other two were napping, and me and Everett were in the giant picture window. I did have pants on, well, I had shorts on, although it didn't look like it.
Well, I saw the cops wave to you in the picture window, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, I looked, because I had one of your sweatshirts on that went down longer than my shorts, so it looked as if I didn't have any pants on, even though I did.
This is a guy I used to sell like show pics to. His brother did all the excavating.
His brother's married to my cousin.
To our house, like, so I don't like know him personally. If I would have known him any better, I'd have been like, hey bro, can you just throw me against the cop car and put some handcuffs on me just to... But also Everett was standing there, so I wouldn't have done it for that reason too. I don't want to traumatize him, but for Lydia I would have done it. That would have been funny.
We should get Everett on here to tell him the story, because he said, I thought they were going to tell us we had to sell our house. And I'm like, what?
Because we just watched The Borrowers. I think that's what that was from. He said no, but I don't know. But anyways, somebody had they didn't have my license plate, but supposedly they were in a high-speed chase, and the license plate number matched my license plate, which is nearly impossible. So they still haven't figured it out, but so I'm a little nervous every time I drive my car now. I'm going to get swarmed.
Rumor has it has something to do with drugs. So my friends are joking about how, like, that's where the recreational homestead came from. Now we know what funds it. So
got to make money somehow.
Yeah.
You thought it was chicks. All you people trying to figure out how to sell chicks like us. Wrong avenue.
You can't say this, but seriously, like, the feds are going to show up at our house.
The feds do not. We can't get 200 people to watch our videos. You think one of them's the Fed?
Never know.
Come and get it. Is that what they say?